Before Lagos lights began to blind common sense, before social media made people measure love with luxury, there was Nandi, a tall, handsome young man from the quiet village of Bowen. He was the kind of man mothers prayed their daughters would marry, respectful, hard-working, and full of sweet promises. When he returned home one December wearing borrowed sunglasses and a second-hand iPhone, the village hailed him as Lagos boy. But beneath his polished smile, ambition was boiling faster than palm wine left under the sun. Adele was his childhood love, a calm village girl with skin the color of roasted groundnut and a laughter that made even the stubborn goats pause. When he told her, "I will marry you once I make it big in Lagos," she believed him. Every morning she prayed for him and even saved part of her market money to support his dream. The whole village called her Nandi's wife that is waiting. In Lagos, Nandi's story changed quickly. He got a construction job, shared a small apartment with 4 friends, and started sending Adele little money. But soon, city life began whispering new ideas into his ears. He met Chicana, sharp city girl with long nails, heavy perfume, and ambition that could scare a politician. She didn't believe in man struggling. She believed in fast life, fine cars, and soft seats. When she told Nandi, "You look like a man who shouldn't suffer," his ego smiled wider than his heart. One evening, Adele called, "My love, when are you coming home?" Nandi sighed and said, "Soon, my dear, things are tight." But Chika was beside him laughing at a comedy show, and Adele's voice suddenly felt like a faraway echo from another life. And that was the day the first seed of betrayal quietly took root. Weeks turned into months, and the sweetness of Adele's patience began to fade from Nandi's memory like old paint in the rain. Lagos had swallowed him whole. Chika taught him how to dress like the city men. Tight shirts, shiny shoes, wristwatch heavier than his conscience. Together, they went to parties where music was louder than morals, and people toasted to success they hadn't earned. Whenever Adele called, he answered with half-truths. "I'm still working on things," he'd say, while sipping wine from Chika's glass. She'd sent him voice notes full of love and prayers, but he often played them while Chika was doing her makeup, more out of guilt than affection. Then came the promotion. Nandi's boss liked his dedication, and in a few months he moved from site laborer to site supervisor. His salary doubled, and his pride grew triple. Chika smiled when she heard the news. "Now you're the kind of man I can introduce to my friends," she said, her eyes glistening with calculation, not love. The next time Nandi visited Boeing, Adele ran barefoot to welcome him. She had been waiting with her heart full of promises, her hands holding yam and soup she had cooked since dawn, but Nandi arrived wearing arrogance like perfume. He sat under the mango tree, avoided her eyes, and spoke like a visitor, not a lover. "Adele," he began, "I've seen things in Lagos. Life there is different. I can't live this village life forever. You deserve better too." Her face fell, her breath caught in her chest. "So, you're leaving me?" He looked away. "We've both changed. I'll send you something. Take care of yourself." That evening, Adele watched the bus carry him away, dust rising behind like her dreams disappearing into the wind. But in the quiet of that night, the ancestors must have whispered. No heart bleeds in vain. Lagos grew brighter for Nandi, but his soul dimmed with every luxury he bought. Chika moved into his apartment, filling it with expensive wigs, loud laughter, and perfume that could chase sleep away. She called him my chairman, and he called her my destiny, though deep down he knew destiny never demanded so much money. Their relationship was built on receipts, not respect. Every week she wanted a new phone, new shoes, and new stories to post online. "Baby, people must see that we're living fine," she'd say while posing beside his borrowed car. Nandi obliged because he liked how the city saw him now, not as the boy from Boeing, but as a Lagos big man. One Friday night, while scrolling through his phone, a message appeared. Adele's mother passed away. The words hit him like thunder. He froze, guilt crawling up his throat. For minutes, he couldn't breathe. He hadn't called Adele in months. She had been alone, carrying the burden of love, loss, and silence. Chika asked lazily, chewing gum. Just someone from the village, he muttered. I hope it's not that local girl again, she scoffed, turning back to her mirror. That night, Ngami couldn't sleep. He kept seeing Adele's tear-streaked face, her voice praying for him. For the first time in a long while, Lagos noise couldn't drown his conscience. The next morning, he told Chika, I'm traveling for a few days. To where? She snapped. Just business, he lied. When he reached Boeing, Adele was standing by a small grave, her eyes empty. She didn't cry when she saw him. She just whispered, you came too late, Ngami. Even my tears got tired of waiting for you. And that silence that followed? It was the sound of Karma taking her first step. After the burial, Ngami tried to speak, but every word died before it reached his tongue. Adele turned away, her face calm, her heart long healed by pain. Go back to your city, she said quietly. Whatever you were looking for there, I hope it was worth what you lost here. He left the village that evening, carrying a silence heavier than luggage. The road back to Lagos felt longer this time, as though the earth itself was judging his choices. By the time he reached his apartment, Chika was gone, and so was most of his money. The neighbor said she left with a man who drove a new SUV. His room looked empty, stripped of love and laughter, just echoes of what his pride had built. At work, things fell apart fast. The company's project was audited, and Ngami was accused of mismanaging funds, money Chika had convinced him to spend on her business. Within weeks, he lost his job, his reputation, and his fake smile. Lagos suddenly felt like a stranger's city. He tried calling Chika, but her number was switched off. He went to a friend's place. They told him she had relocated to Abuja. Alone and broken, he returned to the same streets he once strutted through with pride. No one called him chairman anymore. Months later, he went back to Boeing quietly, without sunglasses, without pride. He found Adele teaching children at the local school. Her laughter had returned, gentle and true. She greeted him kindly, but her eyes told him what words couldn't. Some wounds only heal when you stop reopening them. That night, under the same mango tree where he once made promises, Ngami whispered to the wind, I traded gold for glitter. And somewhere in that stillness, Karma finally rested, her work complete.